Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video in Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Corki updated complete guide as promised, and this is going to be for the reworked Corki. Of course, yesterday we just covered Corki's basic guide, the updated one for the rework, so I'm gonna put that up in the cards above right now for you guys to check out if you want to for his skills, the order tips and tricks, as well as a couple of combos. And I think the tips and tricks there, pretty important. So let's get straight into the loadout. So I've tested a variety of builds. So I've tested this Manamune build. I've of course also tested a crit build that's basically similar to this number 2 Corki Zodiac, except I swapped out Magnetic Blaster for IE because I felt that was better. Both of these builds are actually pretty good. Manamune build a little bit slow, but this is what I found to be the best build. So let's go over the items one by one. So we're going to start off with the Gluttonous Grease for the early AD and the Omnivamp, and then going to go into Essence Weaver as the first item. The Essence Weaver gives you a little bit of AD, a little bit of ability haste and crit, and then of course most importantly you get the Essence Flare passive, which is of course going to empower your next ability. Now this is really good for your Q or for your rockets as well, so just really handy. And surprisingly, the mana siphon passive to restore the 3% missing mana on hit is actually really important on Corki, right? This actually really matters because Corki uses up a lot of mana, so you really need like a mana item, right? So Essence Weaver could be that, or Manamune, but as I said, Manamune's a little bit slow, so Essence Weaver is probably just the better option. So you kind of need to attack minions, or even monsters can work as well other than champions, to restore your mana. So now we actually go for Triforce second item. Now generally in crit builds, I don't really like to interrupt the crit build. Like, what I mean by that is I like to go for 4 crit items at the start and then some other items later on. But for this particular unique case, actually we are interrupting it with Triforce. This is very similar to the Varus build, where basically Triforce gives you a little bit of max health, a little bit of AD. The 30% attack speed is actually really important because you don't actually get attack speed from any other item in this build, except maybe a little bit from Bloodthirster. But by and large, this is where all your attack speed is going to come from. And the 25 ability haste is really amazing for Corki as well. So getting already like 20 ability haste here, 25 ability haste here, and attack speed from Triforce is really important. But the most important part pretty much is going to be the Spellblade passive, because Corki's true damage procs Spellblade, right? So when you're weaving your spells and auto attacks, you will be able to proc Spellblade with extra true damage, and that's gonna ramp up your damage by a lot. So overall, Triforce is just an amazing second item, and it's what I found to be pretty much your best option. And then the next benefit of this build, instead of going for this Zodiac's build, is that this build actually allows you to put in Bloodthirster. Now, why do I say that this build you can put in Bloodthirster? So just picture this, right? You have Essence Weaver first item. Let's say you go for Bloodthirster second item, i.e. third item, and Maul Reminder fourth item. You have no attack speed items whatsoever, and you're going to be attacking really slow. Now that's pretty bad. So if you go for the crit build, you kind of have to go for either Charge Blade or Blaster as your second item, which then basically means you're going to have to go ER into, let's say, Charge Blade, and then into IE, and then into Maul Reminder, and you have no space to put in the Bloodthirster. So with this build, you can go for Bloodthirster after you complete your Triforce. Of course, huge statistic item, gives you a ton of AD, a little bit of attack speed, and importantly the physical vamp. Now physical vamp of course now works on Corki, because Corki now does completely physical damage on his auto attacks and most of his abilities, or half of his abilities I guess you could say. So Bloodthirster now really works on Corki. And then normally by this time you probably want to get Maul Reminder over IE for the armor pen, because people are going to be tanky by now. Also you get the Grievous Wounds. And then last item, IE, of course, for the additional AD and additional crit damage. Now you can of course swap IE earlier and substitute Maul Reminder at the back if the enemy team is not very tanky and you don't need Maul Reminder early, but that's pretty much going to be the build. Now for the runes, Keystone Rune, you really have two options, right? So you can go for Conqueror. Now Conqueror is really good mostly in the mid to late game, and because this is mainly because in laning phase you don't really manage to stack up and proc your Conqueror all that much, but in the mid to late game, like team fights, like at objectives and stuff, Conqueror is going to come in very handy because it's going to give you a lot of extra AD and a lot of extra Omnivamp. But the other option you have is in lane, especially if you're against a heavy poke lane, you actually can go for Fleet Footwork, and you probably want to go for Fleet Footwork. Now Fleet Footwork gives you a multitude of benefits, right? Firstly, it gives you the heal to survive the poke in lane. It gives you the movement speed to help you, kite around. And actually, very importantly, it also gives you a restore of 8% missing mana when you proc it. And on Corki, this actually matters. On most champions for Fleet, the missing mana, it doesn't actually really matter. But on Corki, it actually does. So actually, Fleet Forward is a really important rune for Corki, but you only really want to go for it if you're into heavy poke lane. Now think of it like an Ezreal Karma lane or like a Lux Caitlyn lane. Those lanes with a lot of poke, this is where Fleet comes in very handy. Otherwise, if you're playing from mid or late game, Conquer is the way to go. So now for the rest of the runes, I actually recommend going for Gathering Storm, because from my testing, I've actually realized that Brutal doesn't really do all that much damage in the grand scheme of things, and although Gathering Storm is kind of a trash rune for AD champions, the little bit of AD you get is probably better than the like 500 damage you do from Brutal, which is not really going to matter all that much in the grand scheme of things. Giant Slayer, of course, to deal with the tanks. Here we go for Alacrity, because obviously it's attack speed is really important. You don't get a lot of it with the build, so you want to make up for it in runes. And finally, for your secondary tree, you can go for bone plating, but I actually think that perhaps maybe mana flow ban could be the way to go, because Corki has such big mana problems. I think getting mana flow ban could be very beneficial for you as well. For the spells, you're going to go for flash and whatever you need. So cleanse is a common option. Other than that, you have barrier, exhaust, of course, and even, you know, ignite or heal could be viable. But that's pretty much it for the loadout discussion. Now let's talk about the gameplay. Alright, so now let's move on to the gameplay itself. Of course, before we get too far into it, don't forget to, as usual, like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and of course, I will be sure to address them. So of course, as I said, I have been spamming Corki ever since he released. Not released, but reworked, and I've been playing him in a ton of games, so I do have quite a bit of information to share with you guys. So the two main things I feel that has changed, it's like he kind of feels same but different, and I think the kind of two things that has really changed is I think his early game is actually a little bit better in terms of his E being able to do more damage and shred more. Now don't get me wrong, before the rework, Corki's E was already pretty strong. It's actually very underrated, and I actually do think that it was actually he was pretty decent in lane as well, but now I think he's actually pretty strong in lane, especially if you are able to all in. Now the other difference, of course, pretty obvious one, is his package, right? So obviously you don't have that package anymore. You don't have to play around that huge, you know, the huge package you have to lay over whenever you have objective fights. However, the new package, you do have to play around something else, which is you will see a mistake I made a lot in this game is a lot of times my package triggers when I die. That happens at least twice in this game. You will see later on, which is obviously a huge waste of the package. Now, of course, another factor is picking up the package itself. Like you don't want to dash in and then ult and then have the package drop right next to the enemy, which is what I did in this game as well. So even though I've played, like, I think at this point, like maybe close to 20 games of the new rework Corki already, I'm still making these mistakes, and it does take some time to learn and get used to the changes. So you definitely do want to be more aware of your package count. And then you want to, of course, be able to get your package in a safe location and then continue blasting, which you will also see me do in this match. But as I said, you will also see me make the mistake of, you know, having a poor package location or poor package timing, you know, things like that. Definitely something you do want to, of course, play around. So here, Maokai has gone out of the lane. So you can see I'm trying to make use of the aggressive early game to get a trade onto Ezreal. And then we trade relatively even, because the reason for that is Ezreal has pressed the attack, and that's, of course, a very strong laning rune. But in this case, because I already plan to back, right, so I'm gonna back to get my boots here, I choose to heavy trade with the Ezreal and trade my health for his health, because if he doesn't back, he will be at a disadvantage. And you can see here, Ashe makes a very rookie mistake of walking up to remove a controller when it's very obvious that I've already backed. Right? I'm obviously not on the wave, I'm obviously not in the lane, they know that I've backed, and she walks up, gets engaged on by Maokai, and is forced to flash. So, yeah. And here, as I said, Ezreal's at a disadvantage because he's lost all of his health, but at this point, he's going to back as well, and Maokai is going to zone me off from cancelling his recall. I'm trying to step up to cancel the recall, but obviously I cannot. We finally do get the control ward removal though. So in the end, in the grand scheme of things, it's just a, you know, it's just a trade, and which didn't really amount to anything. No real big deal there. So, what do I think about the new Corki? Well, I definitely do think he's strong. Do I think he's completely broken? Personally, after playing him a good amount, I don't really think so. It could be due to the fact that I've been building him not optimally. Like, I only swapped to this build in my last couple of matches, and I found that it worked amazing. But I've been going for the full crit build, I've been going for the Manamune build, and the Manamune build is really slow. Like, it takes really long to charge up your Manamune, and you're kind of wasting your strong early game by going for that build. Although it's still a decent build in the mid and late game, but in the early game, you are kind of just limited by your items. So do I think he's really broken? I honestly don't think he's broken. I think he's strong? Yes. I do think that he is strong. Like, is he S plus tier? Maybe bottom of S plus tier, or like top of S tier, but I definitely don't think he's better than like Sivir and Varus, for example. I still think Sivir and Varus are going to be better ADCs compared to Corki, but I do think Corki is really strong. And you guys know how it is. A lot of times when a champion is released slash reworked, you know, they do end up being very strong. Sometimes it is true. For example, when Singe got reworked, he was very strong. And Maokai here goes AFK. So here we actually get a freebie. Ari tries to come over and yoink the kill. She already has like 3 kills from mid lane. Tries to yoink our kill. Asol is now up here as well. Off the roam as well. And yeah, you know what? Don't mind if I do. I'll take a free kill any day of the week. I think he might have had some internet issues or whatnot, but he's back in the game. And he gave away a free kill. Now here, Ezreal makes the mistake of stepping up. He doesn't have cleanse. I'm not sure why Ezreal has Ghost. I think Ghost might be one of the worst, if not the worst summoner spell on Ezreal, right? Because Ezreal does not want to run and kite, right? He has mobility, he has his blink. He doesn't need movement speed. So like, his best spell here obviously be cleanse, right? He's playing against an Ashe and an Ahri, right? Who have very crucial CC abilities. Other than that, exhaust, barrier, even heal and ignite are better. Ghost is just the worst summoner spell you could possibly take on Ezreal. So I have no idea what this Joker is doing here, but yeah. So because he doesn't have cleanse, he gets arrowed in the face by the Ashe, and we do get the kill. So now, briefly want to kind of touch on this Ashe support. So obviously Ashe support is hated by a lot of people, right? But I think if Ashe support is played well, and if you have a lead, Ashe support can be amazing. However, the kind of main issue I have in this game is that my Ashe support is building damage. So you can see she has lethal tempo, she has ghost, and she has built Gluttonous Grief. So this is indeed not an Ashe support, but it's an Ashe ADC in disguise as a support. Now I will give credit where credit is due. She has given me the kills, and she will actually give me the kills, and she's not trying to steal my CS actively most of the time. So it's not the worst in the world. Like, you don't have a support who's trying to be an ADC by stealing all the kills and stealing all the CS. It's not really the worst case scenario, but basically we don't have a support this game because essentially she's just a second ADC, right? So here we get the package, but we're not really going to be able to go in onto them because it's 1v2 at the moment, and Ashe is kind of making her way back to the lane. If that arrow hit, I would have actually gone in there because I think I can probably burst someone down, but maybe not Maokai, right? Maybe I can't burst Maokai down. That could have been a mistake. So maybe thankfully that arrow didn't hit, so no need for me to dash in like a fool there. Asol comes on in. We're going to leave the premises, and here you can see we are basically just shredding him using our rockets, and here we're stuck on 1 HP. Volibear is coming in with the flash, with the smite, and I'm able to flash away before the Maokai ulti hits me, and I live on a sliver of HP, still with 2 ult charges left. So now, what do you do when you have like 2 ult charges left, right? So you have 2 choices here. You can either save them for a fight, or try to expend them as fast as possible. Now, I think that you should try to expend them as fast as possible, but try to hit enemies with it instead of minions if you can, because you want your ult to be able to charge again, right? Because remember, if you have this, if you have this ult active, you can't actually charge it up. So here, Ezreal backs in the bush. Now, we had no vision of him there, but if you guys were paying attention to the minimap, you will see that you saw his little circle walk into that bush, and that normally means that he's backing in either the edge, the near edge of that bush, or the far edge of that bush, because normally if you're gonna back at your tower, you wouldn't walk into that bush, then walk into the next bush, and then walk into the tower. So generally, if you see someone walk into that bush, it means that they're backing in that bush, either at the near end or the far end. Now, if he was at the far end, I wouldn't be able to kill him because he would have completed his recall by the time I reach the far end. But since he's at the near end, I just try my luck and just launch my big one in there. Obviously, we still had those 2 stacks that I mentioned, and we're actually able to pick up the kill. So huge free kill for me. Now I'm 4-0, very, very fed, and I'm not even the most fed person in the game, right? Ahri is more fed than me. And on the enemy team, we have Asol that, despite dying 5 times, is still, you know, doing pretty well, and Urgot is also getting fed. Now, this Urgot, I fought him in the last game. and he ended up going like legendary, and he was basically unkillable. I was playing Corki as well, and I was trying my best to kill him, but he was just so tanky, he just wouldn't die. So I'm getting a little bit afraid at this point, because this is the same guy on the same champ, and he is, you know, has his Black Cleaver completed, has his Starek, so he's definitely getting tanky. And I don't really want to be in a situation where I cannot kill him again. Of course, ideally I don't want to be in that situation, but it's kind of out of my control for the most part. Right? I'm not really the one dealing with the Urgot at the moment. So now with my 4-0 lead, I have my Essence Reaver and my Triforce completed already. So obviously those are two huge spikes. Here we push in the top lane. Now we're going to rotate over to mid. Just normal, you know, mid-game macro. Ahri is going to make the roam over to bot. Ashe with a cross-mat arrow looking for the Urgot. She gets the Urgot. Ahri and Fiora are possibly coming to kill him. Now here I was thinking of joining, but I was like, Urgot is definitely dead, right? There's no point of me going there. But then I see Volibear. I'm like, wait a minute, this could be a fight. We can see the other three people are not here, so it's just Volibear by himself. But he goes super aggressive, goes in onto the Ahri. He's committed basically for the fight already. Now he's 1v4, and here we kill him. We get the package, and now Maokai is coming in. Asol's coming in. I get stunned by Asol, but no real follow-up here. Now Maokai is running me down. I have my 4 ult charges, right? I've launched all of them into Maokai. I've launched everything into Maokai. He's 1 HP. I flash forward. He procs the passive on me and is able to survive a bit longer. Now here I thought I was dead, but Asol can't aim. Asol can't aim his breath, and he actually dies while I'm stuck on 1 HP. Like, I'm not sure what that was, because I don't think you can auto-target the Breath of Light. I think it has to be manually aimed, so his manual aiming was trash. He managed to aim for the minion instead of me, and I was able to just attack him for extra like 2-3 seconds, and because of that I actually get the kill onto him, which is bonkers. Puts me at 7-0-0 with 10k gold. Now I am now the most spent member of the game by a country mile for the most part. Volibear, you don't want to mess with me. Garen has shredded him with the Black Cleaver. He's really squishy right now with the Black Cleaver shred. However, unfortunately, we can't actually reach him. And here, we're launching pot shots. And here you can see the rocket, the package, sorry, is right in the face of the enemy team. Huge Asol ults coming in. Here at this point, I'm getting slowed by the Rylai's of Asol, so I know I'm not getting out. I'm trying to trade 1-for-1 with Asol before I die. Unfortunately, we don't get the trade, so Asol gets the huge shutdown from the kill onto me, the 7 kill shutdown. Ahri, I think she was going for Asol, but Asol was backing at a different location than what she thought. I mean, Asol's still 1 HP. Where is Asol? But Asol was somewhere. So Ahri tries to get the kill on Asol, doesn't quite get it, has to basically run for the hills, but she already ulted anyway, so I don't really see this as a huge loss. Of course, the loss is not getting the kill, but she already expended her ult anyway, so she just uses the rest of the charges to kind of get out. Dragon's getting done by the enemy team. My team is kind of in the area to contest. Now, I'm not too interested in the Dragon. I'm really just looking for the fight. Here I'm, of course, really fed. Here I'm just blasting Maokai. Maokai goes down. I'm just launching pot shots into the pit where everyone's kind of trapped in. I'm hitting all my ultis, except that one, of course, because everyone's just grouped in the pit. I have to dash away from Volibear, now maintaining distance to shred him down, get the kill on him. Only Ezreal and Urgot are left. Urgot getting slowed down by the Ashe. We can dash on top of his head like so, and just run him down. He almost kills me there with his ulti. Thankfully, he dies before I get pulled in by the ulti. And here I was actually thinking it's a Baron angle. So I say I'm actually pinging to attack Baron, but my team is just not interested, right? Like, yeah, they're all kind of low, but I think we could probably do Baron. Like, we have double ADC with myself and Ashe, and you know, we have Fiora with the true damage as well, and Ahri is pretty fed as well. I think that was a free Baron in my opinion, but my team was not quite interested, so not much you can really do when your team you know, is not interested. All you can really do is to just do whatever else you can, which is, in my case, is getting the bot wave and then just recalling and just getting items. We have the Bloodthirster completion, obviously another huge power spike here. Ezreal is trying to go for the tower. Now, I know he wants this objective bounty, so he's committed to it already. I mean, he is gonna get it, but I do get the kill on him, and his bounty is actually reset from the assist. So here I get the package. I'm ready to join the fight here. Here is actually a great scenario because Asol actually is able to proc his first strike on me, but I take almost no damage, so that removes his first strike and makes him a little bit less dangerous without the first strike. Now here, we are trying to to run Aso down, because Aso at this point is probably the biggest threat on the enemy team at the moment. Ezreal's hardcore feeding, and it's either Urgot or Aso who are very big threats. Aso is taken down by Fiora, who dives the tower, but it's a 1-for-1 trade, so I don't know if that's very ideal. Urgot's coming in on the flank. Volibear is committing. Obviously, because Urgot is coming, I'm launching all the big ones into their faces and autoing as well. Urgot now on the chase still. We're going to eliminate the Urgot, and then we're going to move on to Maokai, dashing forward to go for Maokai. Ahri is going to try to finish him off. Now, Ezreal arcane shifts forward like a fool and just dies. I try to flash forward because I think I have the damage to kill Volley, but unfortunately he lives on like 1 HP, and we're not quite able to get the kill on him. A little bit of a miscalculation on my part. We walk past the control ward in the tri-bush, but we're just going to take this Grom, and then we're going to remove that control ward. And here we are just continuing to push, and the enemy team surrenders, and there we have the dub. So yeah, pretty insane Corki game. As I said, I'm going to cover the rest of his build in the future. But I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.